So I was gonna make this my usual video, unbox the keyboard, make a Roblox ASMR, and upload the video. But after realizing that nobody has made a single review on this keyboard, and the fact that Moeetech provided me with more than just a keyboard to test out, you know what? Let's make a full video on this. This is the Moeetech Glitter65 HE. And if you don't know Moeetech, they make custom keyboards based off a super clean design that you can customize and build out at a more affordable price. They were popular from their Glitter65R series, which have been reviewed by YouTubers such as Moeetech, Alexotos, and more. They built a great reputation, and I feel privileged as a Roblox YouTuber to be an early bird to one of their new releases. Few disclosures before we start: I will be unbiased and compare it to other HE keyboards in some price bracket, and see whether or not the quality of the keyboard is up to par with them. However, I am not a competitive gamer, I'm not even a primary Windows user, and while I own over 20 keyboards, I only own a few HE keyboards, so bear with me if I'm just getting information about other HE keyboards online. I'm gonna assume, like with any other HE keyboards, the gaming performance and latency is perfect, since I don't have tools to test that. So I'll be judging this keyboard based off of other criteria, such as feel, sound, build quality, software support, and etc. This is also my very first time using a full-size camera, so God knows if I did a good job capturing the footage. This will be my last keyboard video on this channel, but not really at the same time, so just stick to the end to hear what I'm gonna say about my future videos later. But for now, let's finally get into the unboxing. Alright, so let's start with the unboxing. So, I know that there's nothing in the table right now, but I just have one request for you guys. Can you guys like close your eyes for 2 seconds? Alright, just close your eyes for 2 seconds. Oh my gosh, and now we got a lot to unbox today. Before we get into the keyboard itself, let's discuss the other items Moeetech has sent to us. In the brown box is actually a special Moeetech bag. This is what you get if you order the pro version of this keyboard, more on that later. Nonetheless, I've never seen a keyboard company send out a bag in their keyboards, which ironically can't fit the keyboard inside, but the texture is pretty high quality, so you can bring it around. It doesn't remind me of a cheap bag, so great if you want to carry the name of Moeetech around. Now it's time to get into the keyboard itself. The box is pretty simple, although well packaged. As for the accessories, you get extra keycaps, which is great, and a plastic cable, so pretty bare bones. Let's move on to my first impressions, because it was pretty interesting, to be honest. Let's open this up first. Damn it, wait. Okay, this plastic is just not peeling off correctly. I have to rip the plastic just to open it, damn it. And here's the keyboard. So the keycaps are probably like one of the coolest looking keycaps. Like, what the heck? Let's peel off the rest of the plastic. This is very well packaged, by the way. Everything here was very well packaged, so props to them. Do you see that? That's some crazy design and reflection. Holy moly, that looks cool. The build-in materials does lean, in my first impression, does lean more towards a plastic-y build. Like, it does feel more plastic. Oh my. I'm gonna have a little bit of issues with that. What the heck? I could just... We'll talk more about the build quality later, but let's move on to the rest of the boxes. Moeetech has sent me an extra keycap set that is, pink. But the texture and looks are a little more unique, so it's great to see that. Then we have two kinds of switches, which is the pink Pro Silk switches and the blue Pro U switches. By the way, the ones that came on my keyboard are the black Pro G switches. Yes, these names don't make sense for now, but I'll explain it at the end of the video. These are all of the switch options offered in this keyboard, with the pink and black ones being similar, except the pink ones having a lighter operating force, while the black ones have a heavier operating force. The blue ones are basically just silent switches. Alright, so after unboxing everything, let's just say I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, because while this keyboard does a lot of things right, as you saw before from the unboxing, there's still a lot of issues that Moeetech needs to fix in this keyboard. Anyways, let's get started. Starting with the aesthetics. They're actually pretty nice. I absolutely love the looks of the keycaps, even if the legends are pretty NPC to me. and the textured rim on the backside has this shiny look that looks great, even if it's just plastic. I also love the translucent look of the plastic around the keyboard, though it's super important to note that there's no RGB on the keyboard, so there's nothing to report for that. Being an HE keyboard, it is a wired only keyboard, but it does include an 8000Hz polling rate and all the benefits a regular HE keyboard does. Which means that this keyboard comes with a web-based software driver. The interface is incredibly clean and actually simple to use, so let me give a quick tour. In here is where you can rebind all of your keys to whatever you want. Pretty simple. But over here is actually the star feature of the keyboard, SOCD, or simultaneous opposing cardinal directions. It's what a lot of the pro gamers use to really control the movement in games like Counter-Strike. Here's all of the modes for you to read, but if you're just a casual, don't worry. I think you'll appreciate the next page, which is travel. You can either set every key to have the same actuation distance, or the distance a key needs to be pressed before registering on screen, or set individual keys like WASD to something else. This is super beneficial and is like borderline cheating in games like Osu. Definitely one of the best softwares I've used for gaming keyboards. It's incredibly intuitive. You can also find this in their website. If it's not linked, then I'll also leave a link in the description. Alright, so let's finally get into the feel and sound of this keyboard. The gaskets are there, I guess. It's better when I tap one key at a time, but at least they exist. That's okay though, because these smooth switches make up for it. And being honest, I think the switches are genuinely the best part of the whole keyboard. The 3 switches that I showcased earlier are equally incredible. They are stupidly smooth, have no stem wobble, and no spring ping, which creates just a flawlessly smooth and creamy sound. These are easily among the best HE switches I've tried stock, and even more impressive than a lot of regular mechanical switches. Better than any Epomaker switch and most Akko switches I've tried, so for those that argue HE switches compromise in sound, I bet this one would change your mind. While switches don't completely define the sound profile of the keyboard, I still think they are one of the most important aspects of a keyboard sound profile, and these switches single-handedly carry the sound of this keyboard. To describe the sound itself, it is pretty close to that creamy, deep but poppy sound we all love. I think if it had PE foam or more sound modifying foams, I'm sure it would be there, because the sound seems to be really dampened, which just makes it a little too quiet in my experience. But hey, at least it's still satisfying without being super annoying. The stabilizers are tuned really well on every key except for the backspace, which I don't know why. What can I say, it feels great to type on and the sound is super satisfying and smooth, albeit a little quieter than usual. However, as amazing as this keyboard is, and how amazing the backpack included is, every keyboard has their own downsides. And unfortunately, there are 2 big issues that I've noticed that may make or break this keyboard. Before I start, I want to give a quick disclaimer that these issues are mostly linked to the keyboard being an early production unit, so these issues are likely going to be fixed in the versions that are actually going to be sold. If you noticed before, I only quoted on the aesthetics of the keyboard, because the actual construction of the keyboard is pretty lackluster. To compare my Jade 75, albeit it costs twice as much, it's mostly resin plastic but has nicely infused metal accents. And while it felt decently heavy, it felt like a tank, and it didn't even feel like the designed resin bogged down the build quality in general, because the resin was just so incredibly solid. This keyboard on the other hand states that there's CNC aluminum quote-unquote inserts in the keyboard, but the case isn't on the same level. The bottom plate is purely plastic, and holding the keyboard around, there's a bunch of creaky noise, and the plastic was just flexing like crazy. I felt worried because my unit came with a slight bend in the front from the moment I unboxed it, but then again, I think this is just an issue with mine being an early production unit, so I'm hoping the build quality will improve on later production units. And I also hope that they will also fix this next issue in those units because it is even more annoying. I noticed this keyboard tends to move a lot, even when playing somewhat casual games, because it's pretty light and the mouse feet included as well were pretty terrible. I once again asked Moeetech why, and it said it worked on the surfaces they tested. It's important to note that I'm using a cloth desk mat, so maybe on more grippy surfaces it could be better, but in my scenario it was pretty irritating. I'm hoping in future iterations they can improve the rubber on their feet, or at the very least make the keyboard weightier. For example, the Kissen KN85 and the Owlet F75 I have here has this silicone layer that adds a bit of weight and fullness to the keyboard, and they're both like $50. But I understand this is an early production unit, so hopefully in the final iteration they will fix this. With that said, let's start looking at pricing and value proposition and see whether or not this keyboard stacks up to other keyboards. The regular Glitter65 HE starts at $79 and comes in this color option, the Obsidian Black and Heavy Pro G switches. Or it comes with the Marganite Pink and Light Pro Silk switches. It basically does everything the Glitter65 HE Pro has, which is what was sent to me. With the Pro version, you have a lot more freedom with color options and switches, so if you hate light switches with the Morganite Pink, you can swap it to the Heavy Pro G switches without being stuck with the Pro Silk. You also get that free bag I was showcasing in the start of the video, which is sold separately for $50, so do consider it when buying. I'm going to be discussing the value proposition of the regular Glitter65 though, which includes probably the best set of switches. Comparing it to my Owlet Hero 68, the quality of the switches is like night and day, but so is the difference in build quality, despite the Owlet being completely plastic. Another keyboard I tried is the Yunzi RT80, which has a much better plastic construction, but comes with quieter switches that are also incredibly smooth. Though I far enjoyed the typing experience on the Glitter65 HE, but then again, at least the Yunzi RT80 doesn't slide around my desk like a mouse. And really after using this keyboard for a while, I think at least the unit I received is an unfinished product, because the accessories and sound that I got, I feel like this could provide incredible value. I'm hoping future reviewers will see better quality units and the units that are sold are going to be better quality than mine, because if these issues are fixed, then yes, it's one of the most unique HE keyboards with great value. So that wraps up today's review. I'm pretty sure I've gone through everything I could. Now it's time to explain what I meant by this being my last keyboard video, to the 10% of viewers that love my keyboard videos. Yes, this will be my last full keyboard review on this channel, so no, I won't stop showcasing new keyboards before my Roblox ASMRs, but I will solely dedicate my The Fallen channel to prioritize Roblox, as it is better if I just stick with my niche of being a Roblox YouTuber. However, if anything, this is actually a new beginning, because this is the first of many full keyboard videos I'm going to make, as I am exploding with ideas. I've discussed this a few times, but I'm very interested in opening a new dedicated tech channel with no Roblox. And since I have like 20 keyboards, I might as well use those as content to jumpstart my tech channel. This channel will be linked in the pinned comments, but the handle is TyleakeRBD with this skater profile picture. I'm not showing my face, so deal with this. Just don't expect a regular upload schedule because as of right now, these videos take a long time to make and I can only dedicate like 1 or 2 hours on weekdays for this because I have to balance school activities, gym or calisthenics, my The Fallen channel, and this. Which means that my uploads will most likely slow down from now on, but there's still going to be at least one video every week, and every time I'll try and make it a banger because honestly I've made more than enough ASMRs. Thanks for watching this whole video and see you all in the next ones. Or for my new keyboard fans, in my new channel. Oh, and here's the sound test you guys have been waiting for, so enjoy the last sound test.